Sige, good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Joe Flordelis. I am with here.
I'm Keith, a computer engineering student sa San Jose Recolletos. And yes, we are passionate about this. This is a research doc now.
Okay, so na sila research. They have a research about osteoarthritis and falls relationship maybe between fall and
Osteoarthritis.
So yeah, this is a very interesting research, and I hope that if you have someone in your home, maybe friends or family who have osteoarthritis in the hips or in the knees, we are going to find out if it is actually in their research that it's a risk. No? So hopefully you stay for this live, and if you have any questions or comments, type them down below and maybe we'll answer them as well. So thank you.
So first, Doc, here is our gathered data. So
Okay.
the causes of osteoarthritis is aging. I want you to, if you can validate.
Yes. So it's one of the causes of osteoarthritis because there is a primary osteoarthritis. It can be genetics, it can be aging. It can also be a secondary osteoarthritis, which can be from trauma. It can be from other diseases like hip dysplasia or dislocations, or something congenital can also cause secondary osteoarthritis. So there are primary and secondary causes. Aging can be a factor, not necessarily a cause, meaning there are also elderly patients without osteoarthritis who have very good joints. But yes, majority of the patients in Asia have more knee osteoarthritis. Caucasians have more hip osteoarthritis. And these patients develop this through time. And one of the things can be aging, others are looking into other causes. So I hope that is the answer.
Yeah, it answers
your question. Sorry.
Yes, and also obesity, Doc.
Obesity
is also the cause. We find out that it's a cause to osteoarthritis during an interview.
So I would say that obesity is something that is a risk factor again for osteoarthritis, similar to aging can be a risk factor for osteoarthritis. A lot of the research now is going into the food also and how the gut affects osteoarthritis. So obesity increases the chances of you getting osteoarthritis by about 3 times. And this is a big factor, not just because of the weight of the patient, but also because of maybe the diet is not so good. Meaning you can be very big eating lots of junk food and really not enough nutrients, and this causes a possible shift to damaging the joints. Again, this is still being studied, but the relationship is there. There's definitely a risk factor if you are obese, about 3 times more likely to develop early osteoarthritis.
Yeah. So that's it for the causes of osteoarthritis. And now the effects of osteoarthritis, docs. We find out that it's pain. Is it really? Does osteoarthritis causes pain?
Because the joint is damaged, yes, it does cause pain. But the remarkable thing about us humans is we adapt. So a lot of the patients can have severe osteoarthritis and have severe pain. But there are also patients who have severe osteoarthritis but have adapted to the pain and have forgotten what a normal joint feels like. So you may see a very bad x-ray, the joint is gone, but they will not feel much pain. There is some genetics to that, meaning there are patients who don't feel a lot of pain, and there are also patients who have adapted to the pain. And there are also patients who are indeed in severe pain.
Yeah, but would it cause fall up if they're experiencing pain?
The pain is one of the factors that can cause a fall, but in general, it's the loss of muscle and the loss of balance that osteoarthritis patients have that lead to falls. So even if you have a painful knee or painful hip, you don't necessarily fall down immediately. But if you have no muscles because you are constantly in pain, you don't like to use that extremity. If your right knee is painful for the longest time, you don't want to put weight on that knee, you develop muscle atrophy. You lose muscle and you lose balance in all of the right lower extremity areas. So the whole muscles in from the hip down to the foot, the muscles grow smaller. You lose balance, you lose muscle, and then maybe you're more prone to falls. But if it's just pain, acute pain, there is still a possibility. But when you combine that pain with loss of muscle, loss of balance, there's a higher chance of getting injured.
Okay, so that's the thing. So that actually, ano daw, na nasagol na nimo ang kuan since it also naka-indicates that someone that the loss of body function. Anyway, let's continue with the impact and the burden sa kuan. It's a financial burden. Osteoarthritis can impact the or kuan ba ito maka-affect ba sa family, especially in financial.
Yes, it's true. So there are so many research going into the burden of osteoarthritis around the world, not just in the Philippines but abroad, because there's so much pharmaceutical marketing going into these drugs, these supplements, and that means people are pouring money into medicines, supplements, and even alternative drugs just so that they can find the thing that cures it. The problem is, if they understand osteoarthritis, there is no true cure as of the moment, and that's why they keep on looking for that cure and keep on changing medicines, keep on buying different supplements and pain relievers until some of them have damage to the kidneys, damage to the gut, and that's something that we want to avoid. So hope that if you do have osteoarthritis, they see a healthcare specialist, a doctor.
Yeah, because it would really be a financial crisis if sige lang touch or ilis-ilis o kuan, di ba, Doc? And
but that's what's happening here.
Yeah, so it would the impact also is emotional burden, Doc, sa family.
Yes, of course. If you have osteoarthritis, a lot of these patients are going to be more angrier, or they have an emotional burden because when you are in pain, you're not in the best state of mind. Your mental health can definitely be affected. So there is a lot of things to be grateful for that we will forget, that we will easily get angry at our loved ones because there comes a point na they will be tired of listening to us, and then we don't believe them anymore when they, when they are in pain, and that creates a gap na because they're not able to join the family in outings, they're not able to join, going to the beach, going to the mall, going to different places. And so emotionally, it's very stressful for both the children and their parents who have severe arthritis, because it's something that definitely affects the state of mind of both.
Yeah, especially we are Filipino, which is medyo family-centered.
Family-centered, yes.
So aside from that, Doc, we also find out that physical activities and exercise, especially in assistive devices such as canes, ginagamit ba ang could you validate, Doc, na canes or assistive devices are used
yes.
sa mga patients with osteoarthritis?
Yes, a lot of them actually use some form of assistive device. So when patients with osteoarthritis are in pain, they use canes. Some of them try to use umbrellas. Some of them maulaw, or they are ashamed to use these assistive devices. So they try to always walk with someone holding onto the shoulder, or some sort of walking aid that doesn't look like a cane, that doesn't make them look old. Others will already have walkers or some form of wheelchair, even if it's really, really bad.
Yeah. So does it mean, Doc, that since it's an assistive device na, di ba? Does it mean that in order for them not to cause the fall, Doc, is it true na they use those devices to somehow avoid fall or somehow to support them during their activity or daily activity?
Yes, basically they use these assistive device when they have already lost their balance, or their balance is not so good anymore. When they are in pain, it assists them. And for some, it may prevent falls, but again, the real reason is still there. It's the arthritis. The pain is still there, and the motion, the mobility is limited. So it can be helpful, but only to a certain point.
Okay. So thank you, Doc. And for the ano, Doc, is the joint replacement.
Joint
Is it?
replacement.
Yeah. Is it the treatment or ano, Doc? Is it advisable to those who have osteoarthritis?
Well, we do advise joint replacement when everything else fails, when they've tried the medicines, the supplements, weight loss, when they've tried braces, injections. If you are someone with osteoarthritis and you've tried everything already, maybe the next step before any joint replacement is to see a doctor, because a lot of the Filipinos self-medicate. See a specialist, and when they go to the specialist, if indeed they have severe arthritis, that is an option. So I don't really force my patients to have surgery, but I empower them and inspire them that they can walk again, they can travel again, they can do their household chores without pain or with less pain, because it is something that we do that is for their quality of life. We want you to walk again, we want you to spend time with your family.
Yeah, but mentioning about quality of life, Doc, and joint replacement, since it is also costly, there is also what we call pain medication. So, can you see, Doc, is it koan ba sa mga patient, like more common to take rather than joint replacement?
Of course, because here in the Philippines, the mindset is that you go to a helot, you go to a faith healer, you self-medicate, you ask your neighbor what is good for yourself. So a lot of the patients do not go to the doctors. Joint replacement is probably the last thing on a patient's mind. There's a lot of fear that is opposite in other countries like in the US, in Australia, in the UK. They all know that they need a new knee, they need a new hip, they get the joint replacement. But here in the Philippines, always do not go to the doctor. They go to the neighbors. They take whatever the neighbor is taking. They go to the helot. So definitely, we are like behind in many ways.
Yes. So aside from that, Doc, so sa environment nila, do they need to improve the environment, like having handlebars at home or?
Yeah, definitely. So that's a good question. If you have any friend, patient, or relative with osteoarthritis, do you have handlebars at home? Because we definitely recommend having ramps, having handlebars to lessen the pain and to improve mobility of patients with osteoarthritis in the home. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing that we find out, that those of osteoarthritis with patients must improve their environment. Aside from handlebar, there is also the non-slip material that must be used.
Non-slip material, that's very good.
Yes.
So yeah, that could be one of the things that could improve. Yeah, so good tip.
Yeah.
Buy something for your floor so that you have a non-slip floor. So if you have osteoarthritis, you do not slip and fall.
Yeah. So aside from that, Doc, so the exercise, Doc, is
exercises.
Yes, the proper.
It's very hard because exercise is going to be good to a certain point. When you have severe osteoarthritis, you can only bend your knee to a certain point. You can only move your hip to a certain point. Exercise is definitely something you can do for your arthritis, but only to a certain level, because the movement is very limited now when the joint is damaged. There is a mechanical block that you cannot overcome. And that's where joint replacement goes in. The more movement that you can do, the more exercise that you can do, the stronger you will become. And so you will regain your function, your walk. And I have many patients. You can see them in the Facebook group or in the Facebook page. They're walking after hip or knee replacement, and they have regained their muscle. It's very hard to regain your muscle if you cannot move your knee or you cannot move your hip.
Yeah, so that's it for our validation,
Okay.
Doc. And yes, so that covers everything that we
Okay.
gathered. And
Sige.
so aside from that, Doc, is it okay to have like something like for those listeners out there, like I don't know if especially we have this one, but we are inviting siguro if you've been diagnosed osteoarthritis,
Okay.
is it okay for them to siguro approach us so we can
Yeah. We'll leave your contact number in the comments below if you are interested in joining their study on fall precaution or fall risk and osteoarthritis. Please, it's a study for the University of San Jose Recolletos,
yes.
and hopefully we can improve the quality of life and increase the awareness of osteoarthritis in the Philippines. Hope this helps, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah,
Sige.
yes.
Sige, bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Doc.
Sige.
Bye.
Okay, so we're done. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay, muna ko kaya. I still have a few patients waiting.
Thank you, Doc.
Very well.
Wala pa na.
Yeah. We're gonna end this day.